Welcome to Show Me Something Wrong,
where each episode one of us chooses a movie to watch that the other hasn't seen. The movie is often obscure, usually odd, and always wrong.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Guy, and today I've chosen the movie, and it is Nightdreams from 1981. Alright, so here we go, Nightdreams. Now, before we get into the actual movie itself, I thought it'd probably be worth mentioning that although we've covered a few slightly adult-themed films, or films that also include, like, adult content, actual, penetration and whatnot, this is the first porn film of the podcast.
No pixelation in this one.
No sucking through underpants, like, what was that? Red Account. There was a bit of pants sucking in Red Account. No pants sucking here. This is a full-on porn film, so probably should come with a warning. We're talking about a lot of fucking today.
That's basically all this film is.
There's a lot going on. No one's idea of a good time is listening to two men in their 30s talking about people having sex. So I'm going to be talking primarily about the other part of the porn film, the plot-wise, the story-wise, But Dave,
I know a very short podcast.
I think there's a lot to cover. But Dave, I know you love a good cum face. So if you want to go into the nitty and gritty of the actual sex scenes themselves, that is fine. Sure. You go right ahead. Because I remember during the Infernal Rapist episode, you did write a lot about his cum face.
I did, yeah. That was a pretty amazing cum face.
Yes. And this film is no way short of cum faces. There's plenty of cum faces.
A lot of the cum faces are covered by masks in this film, though.
Which was your favorite cum face, Dave? Did you pick a favorite?
I actually haven't written anything about cum faces for this one.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought that was what you bring to the podcast.
No,
You're the cum face guy.
Weirdly enough, for this film, it was more the art direction and dialogue.
Ah, okay.
That I found pretty impressive, rather than the cum faces. How did you come to see this film?
How did I
come to see this film?
Well, that is a great question. So I had this on an old hard drive back home in England. I don't know where I got it from, how I came to have it in my possession, where I downloaded it from, anything. Which was weird because on that hard drive was pretty much primarily Japanese films, like Pink films and old like Pinky Violence films. And then I saw this one called Nightdreams. And I was like, hang on, what the hell is Nightdreams? I clicked on it. This is literally just a couple of months ago. And I thought, fucking hell, this is wild.
So this is a really recent viewing for you then?
For me, yeah. I watched it for the first time, 2 months ago. But I've had it on this hard drive that I've had for 15 years.
Wow.
So when and how it came into my possession is a bit of a mystery.
Wow. I'm shocked that I never heard about it until you mentioned it to me, because I do quite enjoy porn films, like classic era porn films, and I like especially weird stuff like this. So how have I not heard about this? Because it's absolutely insane, this film. It is. It's definitely among the craziest porn films of this era that I've seen.
Yeah. And I think I've got a few mind-blowing facts to shoot at you before we get into it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
so before we actually get into the porn film itself, I want to talk about the people involved.
Okay.
But before I do that, I'm going to just give a very brief outline of what the film is about, so people know what we're going into before I say who's involved, which is a little bit controversial, but it's a porn film. It's not like there's a plot. It's literally just scene after scene of fucking in different situations. So, in a sentence, Nightdreams is it's a film about an experiment. It's an experiment. A pair of scientists use electric jolts to induce a sleeping woman to have erotic dreams. Is the film in a sentence. Now, there are three primary people involved in the making of Nightdreams, okay? There is the director, Francis Delia, and it is written by Jerry Stahl and Steven... I don't know if I'm saying this right. Sayadian. Now, all these three people go by aliases.
Okay.
It's quite interesting, actually, the people involved in the making this. So Delia, the director, he's a bit of the mystery. In this film, he goes by the pseudonym FX Pope.
Okay.
But there is a lot of speculation that that is also a fake name, and that this is actually the writer Steven Sayadin. But we're not quite sure. That the reason people made that connection is because there is actually Nightdreams 2 and 3 that are directed by Sayadin, and people say it matches a lot of like similar themes, and the stylistic choices are very similar. What I did find out about Delia is that he actually did some camera work on early Abel Ferrara films.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Abel Ferrara obviously being the bad lieutenant, driller killer, Miss 45. He did some of his earlier films. So quite an interesting person. Now, the other two people involved in this are Jerry Stahl and Steven Sayadian. I'm never going to say that right. Now, they were both working for Hustler magazine. Jerry Stahl was the copywriter, and Sayadian was the creative director, right? Now, Jerry Stahl, he is primarily a novelist and screenwriter, and his kind of claim to fame is a memoir called Permanent Midnight.
Ah, I thought I recognized his name. Okay, right.
And that starred Ben Stiller in the main role.
Yeah.
He has also written... he's a screenplay writer. He's written episodes for CSI. He did Bad Boys 2 with Will Smith. Episodes of Twin Peaks.
Okay, yeah.
And most surprisingly, Alf.
What?
So the writer of Alf did this fucking insane porn film, which is bizarre. Now, the other guy, Steven Sayadian, probably not the way to spell it.
You've said it differently each time.
Let's just call him Steve. I'll get through this.
Let's call him Steve.
Steve. So the other guy, Steve, has the alias Rinse Dreams in
Quite a good good pseudonym.
in this erotic venture. He was the art director, production designer for a lot of old VHS art covers and posters from the 80s, including Dress to Kill,
Good cover.
John Carpenter's The Fog,
Oh, yeah.
Toby Hooper's The Funhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did a fair bit. Now, Sidon was working for Larry Flint Productions this time, when he was making these like iconic VHS cover arts and posters and stuff. And what he did was actually reuse some of the sets for this like old VHS art for the makings of this porn film.
Oh, that makes so much sense now, because they're absolutely amazing like sets in this film.
So Dress to Kill set, Funhouse set for the posters were actually sets for this porn film.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right?
That makes so much sense now, because this feels like really quite big budget for a porn film from the early 80s, so that really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there was a few things like, wow, they really went there, but then after finding this out and, you know, their connections, I thought, wow, this is actually, it makes sense. And like you said, it's not cheap. It doesn't feel cheap. It's really impressive sets and really impressive makeup a lot of the time. Now, last thing I'm going to say is a few quotes that came out from the release of this film. So Playboy described it as the first avant-garde adult film Fellini meets Eraserhead.
Okay.
Velvet Magazine described it as the Citizen Kane of adult films.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
And pornographic film historian Jim Holliday called it the most unusual, unique, and innovative adult film ever made.
It's a pretty accurate description. That last one. Don't know about that Citizen Kane comment. It's a bit unusual.
Yeah. And lastly, AVN called it one of the most influential adult films of all time.
Yeah, how the fuck did I not know about this film? That's
wild,
I find it very strange that I never heard of it until now.
So I feel like, I've probably hyped the film up enough with all these awesome facts. So let's get right into it.
All right.
So here we go. Nightdreams by Steve.
Steve and Friends. The lead actress in this is also quite a legend.
Did you know her?
Yeah, she's Dorothy LeMay. So she's, just like a big porno legend. I think she's in Dress to Kill.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I feel like she's in that film, or maybe not.
There you go.
No, I'm totally wrong. So she's in 10. Sorry,
10. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know 10? Blake Edwards 10?
No.
Yeah, she has a small role in that. Don't know why I thought she was in Dressed to Kill.
Who knows? Who knows, Dave?
Who knows? Okay, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So we open with a woman masturbating whilst giving one of the greatest monologues ever.
Oh, fuck.
Her speeches are fantastic.
Yeah.
They are great. Do you remember what she said?
Yeah, I've actually written down a few
for it.
things. I think her first thing is like, I know you're watching me, just straight away.
Yeah.
And it's really intense straight away. And one thing I really like about this film is it doesn't feel like a traditional porn film in any sense. Like the kind of sex and what it's doing is really intense in quite a fucked up way. Even this masturbation scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, she says the line, oh man, I'm gonna have to say that. I can feel my pussy so open you can see inside me. I feel so juicy I can't stop. But it's delivered really intensely.
She's very intense, and she's like, she keeps saying that, I know you're watching me.
Yeah.
Like, it's very strange, voyeuristic.
She's really great as well. Her performance in this is really awesome.
I know you're watching me. I can feel your eyes like fingers touching me in certain places. I can feel my pussy so open you can see inside me. I feel so juicy I can't stop.
And then we kind of like see that she's kind of hooked up to a machine. And then we cut to like two scientists who are basically observing her, and it's very much your white lab coat kind of scientists.
Yeah, and they're watching through like the one-way mirror kind of thing. Yeah, and yeah, one of them says she seems to be experiencing some erotic trauma.
That's it. So we know from the opening dialogue from the scientist that she's experienced some kind of erotic trauma, and that from her husband, who apparently exists, she's never experienced an orgasm before. And that's kind of the motive of this movie. That's the journey we're set upon. We're there we're here to watch her try and be given an orgasm through whatever process these scientists have set up for her. So then we cut to one of the most disturbing porn films or scenes I have ever seen.
I gotta say that while I really love this film, I don't think it ever lives up to how completely insane that this first sequence is. It is like both the highlight of the film and the most nightmarish thing about the film.
It was so scary for me.
It's really upsetting.
Yeah.
And it just, as soon as it started, I'm like, oh no, here we go. Here we go.
So we get these like masks, these red masks kind of flashing onto the screen. And we zoom into this massive like Jack in the Box,
yeah.
and it's in a dark, eerie room. It's like we're in a child's room.
Yeah.
And we're going slowly closer towards this Jack in the Box as we hear like distorted laughing being played and like the crank noise getting turned.
It's like a weird sort of chanting sound in the background, but it's really hard to make out exactly what it is. It's quite hard to describe like the noise in this scene. And as you say, like that red kind of light as well. So when we're seeing the cutaways of these faces of either toys or masks or whatever they are, it's got this creepy red light.
The only way I can describe it is nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
It's that pure nightmare fuel, like childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And then the top of the box pops open, and a human Jack kind of thing jumps out, but his dick is like center frame.
Yeah, hanging out. And his costume and mask, it's so disturbing. His mask is like, I don't know what to compare it to, but it's got this long, creepy nose and just very evil looking. And yeah, as you said, big hole in his pants and his big old willies just flopping about.
Yeah.
As you said, center frame.
It is complete center frame. So when he kind of popped out, I was like taken back. I was like, oh my god, it's fucking terrifying, because you kind of get a very quick glimpse of his face, that like white face with the long big prosthetic nose and the chin, and he's got like wild hair, and all like his eyes are kind of like blacked out kind of around. He just looks scary. And then but the frame lingers on his dick.
Yeah. It's one of the creepiest masks I've seen in a film. And this isn't, necessarily a horror film as well.
No, we're here to be turned on.
Yeah, we're getting the creepiest mask I think I've ever seen in a movie.
So Jack goes down on her. He starts eating her out, but using his nose to fuck her.
Oh man, that's so fucked when the nose starts going in.
Yeah.
And the whole way through this, we're also getting these sort of flashes of the masks as well, and the creepy sort of kids' room setting.
And the laughing is constantly played.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. It's fucking horrible. And everything is very darkly lit. I think that's important to mention. It's a very darkly lit film. Every scene is dark, pretty much. And every scene is layered with horror elements, like the creepy laughing and the ticking of the clocks and stuff. It's a very unsettling atmosphere.
Yeah.
One that I was not turned on watching at all.
But it kind of it's a weird one because it is extremely creepy, but it is also, how do I describe it? It's like having a nightmare wet dream.
It's like pretty good representation.
Like
of it.
one that you'd wake up and go fuck, why did I dream that? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're just that's fucked. What's wrong with me? That is seriously what a way to open this film. And it I gotta say, it never quite reaches that level for me, but
not that level of horror
really unsettled me, that opening sequence.
We get thrown right into the deep end with that. That was terrifying. And then we go back to the hospital, and she's having another long speech about the you're watching me and the doing the masturbating and talking to the scientist through the one-way mirror.
She looks into the mirror, spreading her butt, and says, "Such delicious cheeks."
She's got some great lines. The doctors are kind of debating. They seem to have opposing thoughts of what is best for.
Yeah, so it's a male scientist or doctor, and then a female doctor. And the female one is really into this whole process, and basically later on kind of feels like she's getting very turned on by it, whereas the male doctor is very prudish and uncomfortable about the whole experiment.
It's actually here we find out that the girl's name is Miss Van Houten.
That's right, yeah.
I could not but link to The Simpsons.
Yeah. Me too, it's Milhouse's mum. There you go.
Oh no, Miss Van Houten. So Miss Van Houten spreading her butt cheeks, pointing it at the doctors, and they're thinking, should we wake her up? But the female doctors, I don't know, she has potential.
Yeah.
Let's keep her wired up. And then we go into the next scene, which I fucking loved. I actually loved this one. Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
Do you want to go ahead on this one?
Yeah, sure. So basically I think when she's talking about her delicious cheeks, she makes the comment that she wants some women to taste those cheeks, basically.
Right.
So then we cut into this really bonkers cowboy type set with it's like in a desert, and there's two women with cowboy hats on that she approaches, and they speak in unison the whole time. And there's, oh my god, their first kind of lines that they say are so great. So the two of them are speaking at the same time, and they're like, "We love the feel of fire. We love the way it burns. Ooh." We love to feel it all around us until all we can do is breathe and fuck. Breathe and fuck. Look at the bush on her. I reckon she's real wet underneath.
Breathe and fuck. Breathe and fuck. Look at the bush on her. I bet she's real wet underneath.
So it goes from this sort of weird poetic dialogue to suddenly like, hey, check out that bush. Oh, man. And this music starts to kick in.
God, yeah.
And it's this sort of grinding, intense kind of music. And then I'm like, man, this music's really great. And then it starts to play and you realize that it's a cover of Ring of Fire.
Yeah.
And did you know the band that was doing the song? So it's a band called Wall of Voodoo.
Right.
Who I think we're a fairly well-known band, but this is the first I've heard of them. But they kind of sound like I don't know, like Depeche Mode mixed with like Christian death or something.
Right, yeah,
like this weird kind of.
It's a bit post-punk, a little bit industrial, like the bass, like
very industrial, and the song is kind of, it's in a minor key, so it's been sort of, it's got this weird kind of tone to it, and it's just intensely playing over this sort of fucking scene or like tonguing scene, I should say. But yeah, that was really surreal and really bonkers, but that music really made it for me.
I loved it. And it was relentless. The bass is constant. It's like through the entire scene. And what I loved is that like they completely removed all audio from the actual porno scene.
Yeah,
and that song was the only sound playing. So it was bizarre because obviously, sound is a big part of erotic anything. Sound is a huge turn on,
Sure.
So to completely take that out of a porn film and instead have some like industrial post-punk Johnny Cash cover of The Ring of Fire, like it's like, what am I watching? And whilst like these two cowgirls, one of them's eating out her front, the other's on the back, and they're just jamming out to some Johnny Cash covers. Is brilliant.
It feels like at this scene, even though the first scene's really amazing and shocking, at this scene it kind of feels like, okay, so this film is more like a weird kind of art film rather than just a regular porn film.
Yeah.
Where it's more concerned about its visuals than, even though like it is obviously concerned with the fucking as well, but its approach is very unique.
Yeah.
I also thought partway through watching this scene, I'm like, what year is this from? And I looked it up, I'm like, oh, it's 81 that this film's from, but it feels much later to me. Like it has a really slick kind of mid 80s, late 80s kind of look as well. I think sort of thanks to that kind of really colorful, sort of beautiful art direction that it has. So do you think this set, then do you think that was part of one of the VHS cover art direction sets that he had?
I mean, it could have been. Who knows? I mean, I would have to go and search for the promotional posters and home release stuff.
Imagine comparing those. Did you notice as well at one point the background kind of lights up and it's a cityscape?
I did
in the background as well. It's really fucking cool. So you've got this sort of desert foreground, and then like part of the song sort of kicks in, and the background kind of lights up, and you've got these weird buildings in the background.
It's almost really like cool. It's like a live gig or something with a stage lighting.
It's very cool.
And then one of them has like they'll have like gun holsters, and one of them pulls out a dildo from the gun holster and starts using that all the while this song is playing.
Not the last dildo we're going to see as well.
No. Oh fuck. So they're getting into it, and they're going, and the song actually I think plays twice through this scene. It's quite a long scene, and we cut back to the doctors, and they're like, oh my god, she's worked herself up into a frenzy. Should we sedate her? Because she's too into the Ring of Fire, cowgirl, lesbian, dildo fucking. But the female doctor wants to pursue. She says, no, she's never going to learn how to handle pleasure if she doesn't get any. And then we cut to our next scene.
I got to say, this one was a bit of a drag for me, this sequence. It's kind of, it is like, the atmosphere is really cool of this, but it just goes for quite a while. But so this next one is kind of in this weird sort of, again, like desert, right? So it's like a
Middle East, like Middle East chic kind of thing.
Yeah, we've got these guys in these sort of what do you call that kind of like Arabic kind of clothing, and they're all sucking on a hookah pipe.
I thought you were going to say something else.
Yeah, chowing down on a hookah pipe, and again, the sound is really weird. So most of the sound in this, it's quite a quiet scene.
Yeah.
And we're mostly just hearing like sucking on this pipe. And then this shot's amazing. So the camera starts to pull out, and we see Mrs. Van Houten on the ground using a hookah pipe to masturbate.
It's pretty amazing, yeah. I was not expecting that. But it's interesting because, you got these four guys like sitting smoking together, and they're kind of talking, but it's like this weird mumbling. It's like a really subtle like almost like chant, like mutter. They're going, and like you said, all you can hear is the breathing of the pipe. Like, again, it's very unerotic.
Yeah, it's really weird.
And it's a very dark, smoky room. There's nothing erotic about it whatsoever. And then, like, they kind of take turns. Like, two of the guys come and fuck Miss Van Houten, and they double team her, and then they kind of go back to smoking pipes.
Yeah.
And then, but the whole time it's like this.
Yeah, and it's very droning and weird and quiet. There's also just a snake hanging out in the scene.
Yeah,
a few times as
I'm
well.
not quite sure what that was about, but
yeah, that scene, it was one I actually forgot about until getting to it now. But yeah, it is really weird, that muttering and the breathing sound. Very, very weird.
Yeah. So we're kind of like going through these quite quick because there's only so much we can talk about the plot and not the fucking.
Although,
but
I feel like some of the later ones we're gonna have to spend some more time talking about, because it does get a bit more bonkers from here.
It does. It only gets more bonkers. We cut back to the scientists. They're now having more like intense, conflicting opinions of how to treat Miss Van Houten.
Yeah, we see the female scientist. She's like watching, like, you know, this play out through the mirror, and she's sort of licking her lips all erotically, like clearly very unprofessional. This scientist here. And yeah, the male scientist is getting more upset about this whole process. Yeah, they're arguing more and more about it. Yeah.
And then, holy fuck, we get the most fucked up scene. Oh my god, I was not expecting this.
Actually, this is the one part of the film that kind of equals that opening. Scene.
Yeah.
This is fucking mental, this bit. Jesus Christ.
So we cut to Miss Van Houten, and she's sitting next to a man in a suit, right?
Kind of Dracula-looking guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's kind of like looking away from her, and he's in a very clearly like nervous disposition. Like he doesn't feel very comfortable. He looks very scared, and she starts to open his shirt and start touching him. But his chest makes some like hollow noise.
Yeah, it's like his chest is like a plastic sheet or something.
Yeah.
She taps it, and you've got this sort of hollow sound as she does it. Yeah.
And all the while we have these kind of like horror-esque violins playing on top. It's a very uneasy like soundscape being played over this, what we only can assume is the start of a fucking scene. Yeah. But it's like you're on edge, and it's like another pitch black room with only these two characters being lit. And then she unzips him.
She's like rubbing his crotch.
Yeah.
And we're cutting to his face as well, and his mouth is just like opening and closing like a robot. Or a fish, actually.
Yeah.
We call back to it later on. But yeah, like, so this mouth sort of opening and closing.
And then so she unzips him and takes out what we kind of at first, I guess, think is the head of his cock.
Yeah.
Pulls out a fucking baby, like a fetus, like quite a big fucking fetus.
Oh, fucking
and
weird.
The man starts making this horrendous noise.
Kind of like, it's almost like an adult baby sound, right? Like this weird kind of crying, baby wailing as he's like staring at her while she's got this weird fetus in her hands. Fuck, that was so fucking weird, that scene. Imagine going, because this would have been in a cinema, right?
Yeah.
So again, like, we've talked about this before with previous films, like, you know, Red Account, My Bloody Angel. Imagine, you know, you're watching that, you got a normal fuck scene, and then, you know, the dismemberment stuff happens. This is the same kind of thing. You're like, all right, here we go. Watch a little fuck film. Nightdreams sounds pretty good. And you get through the first scene, like, oh, that was kind of weird. But, the cowboy scene, that's all right. Then the Arabic scene, a bit weird, but okay. And then you get this.
This is horrible.
Yeah, there's all boners are gone at this point.
I shriveled up into myself. And the baby, she's like holding up this fetus, and it's just like twitching and convulsing while this man is just like screaming while these
so
violins are playing. And I was like, what am I watching? Make it stop.
That was properly amazing and fucked. It was incredible.
It was grim. Can I also mention I watched this at like 5 a.m?
Yeah, I was wondering that because you sent me a message. I got a message at like 6 a.m. or something from you, like, hey, just finished watching the movie.
Dude, I am a very bad sleeper.
Right,
So
right.
I like wake up and it's like, oh, I'm not going back to sleep. Like I wake up like 2 or 3 and I watch Nightdreams. And this was not what I was ready for at like 4 or 5 a.m. whatever.
I watched this like in the afternoon yesterday, just on my computer with my headphones on, with Tana walking back and forth in the background, probably wondering what the fuck I was watching.
Yeah. Dave, what are you masturbating to this time? That's a fucking baby.
Oh no! No.
Yeah, that scene is grim.
And then it does this sort of weird freeze frame. So I thought it was going to keep going with this, but this is kind of like a little kind of in between like sex scenes kind of thing. It's sort of a build up to the next part that kicks in, which is also really messed up and pretty amazing as well. So after we get this really fuck scene with this weird baby dick man, yeah, we cut to this just like a bathroom, right? Where like a bathroom is a toilet in the background. We see high heels, stockings, sort of dripping sound. Yeah, it takes a while to reveal, but it's Mrs. Van Houten. Of course.
She's kind of like glammed up. She's in like sexy lingerie.
Yeah. And we keep zooming into the door, and it's kind of like glowing door frame sort of thing. It's very weird. Yeah, it's sort of... The music's really weird. It's like this, again, like industrial sort of sounding music. And it kicks into this very odd sort of post-slow-mo, where it's all like sort of jittery kind of slow motion. Yeah, she walks up to the mirror. It's got this really intense lighting as well. Well, the lighting is amazing and throughout all of these scenes. Again, really dark as well. And then this door is opening like wider and wider. And again, we see some fucked up looking mask.
It's really scary.
Yeah, this really scary kind of black and white mask. This guy sort of watching through the door. Yeah, Mrs. Van Houten again, back in the bathroom. She pulls out a kind of weird looking dildo, right? Very, I don't know much about dildos. You're the dildo man here, right?
That's what they call me.
But it seemed like it wasn't a normal looking dildo to me. I don't know. It had like a weird nub on the end or something. But yeah, she's like using the dildo.
She's like watching herself in the mirror, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
herself.
a very voyeuristic. It was kind of like that flashback to her, like looking at herself in this lab, watching the scientists.
Yeah.
So she's completely kind of entranced by looking at herself in the mirror, completely unaware that she's being watched
By this creepy mask boy. And again, it's like, it stays sort of in that weird slow motion, right, for quite a while. And again, I think there's no sound other than the music, right?
Yeah.
That's all we're hearing. And then, yeah, the man comes through into the room, comes up behind her. Again, it's in that weird slow-mo. And then he comes up behind her and attacks her and pulls her down. Is it like on top of the toilet? Yeah. And then the slow motion just suddenly cuts out and the music goes fucking crazy at this point. And he, I guess, is basically like raping her
over the toilet. Yeah,
it just keeps cutting to his like creepy mask, and he's almost sort of like looking at the camera at points as well. It's
like
so
laughing and stuff.
fucking weird. Oh my god,
It was
fuck?
that scene was quite upsetting.
Yeah, it's very confronting, that scene.
Because she's just like in her own world, just like masturbating to herself, completely unaware she's being watched. But when he does come in, like I said, that slow-mo, it's like, it's really slow. It's a frame every like half a second or something. It's like gung, gung, and he kind of like runs towards her, but we don't get the running motion. But because it is so slow, we just see the terror on her face, and because it's slow, it kind of like freezes on that frame as she's being grabbed from behind. It's really unsettling.
Yeah, and I think especially that scene opened with that creepy baby dick man. It just adds to the so weird. It's such a shift from like, that cowboy and Arabic scene. It's quite like confronting to go into that scene.
Yeah.
But really amazing as well. Like really kind of beautifully realized in a strange sort of way. Yeah, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And fucked.
And then we come back to the scientists. They're still monitoring her, and it seems that pushing her is getting good results. So they keep monitoring her, keep her hooked up to the machine. And
something pretty great happens in this bit.
What happens in this bit?
So
was it the male scientist?
Yeah. So they're like, oh, we're succeeding. It seems to be going well. And then Mrs. Van Houten comes up to that one-way mirror and just starts pushing her body up against it really hornily. And the male scientist starts getting really overly, like, kind of cartoonishly turned on.
Yeah.
But he's kind of panicked as well. And he says the line, her libido is completely out of its cage.
He's loving it.
She also says a line here which kind of connects to the end of the film where she says, who's the patient, who's the doctor? Which is kind of this sort of loose sort of idea that it plays with towards the end. I don't know how successful that idea is throughout it.
That's true. And then we cut to the scene, which was the reason I wanted you to watch this. This was the scene where I thought, this is the one. This is what is going to put it on the podcast.
Because, you know what's really disappointing is that I sadly got a little bit of this scene before I watched the film. Because when you sent me this film, I was like, I'll just make sure it works.
Yeah.
I flipped through it and I saw a flash of this scene, which is... When you watch the first part of this film, you would never expect what's going to happen.
No, this is the greatest scene in porn cinema history. This is fucking the creme de la creme of porn scenes. Oh my fucking god.
The creme of the wheat.
So holy shit, yeah, I really wanted to see your reaction when you saw this scene for the first time, but we're not watching porn together, so let's just talk about it. So we cut to another one of Miss Van Houten's fantasies. We're in the kitchen, and after seeing the fucking baby and then the toilet rape, and we're going into darker and darker territory, all of a sudden it's a very nice, brightly lit, happy kind of setting.
Yeah.
She's in the kitchen, she's cooking breakfast, she puts on the radio, she's in a happy mood.
She's talking to herself as well, so she's like, I love cream of wheat.
That's it.
Feels so good going down my throat.
So she picks up the cream of wheat. Now, I don't know what the fuck cream of wheat is.
Yeah, neither do I.
Is that an actual thing?
Is that... It's like a... I feel like we call it something else.
Right.
Should I Google it?
Google it.
Cream of wheat.
You'll be like, oh, yeah, cream of wheat. Yeah, Tom Cruise is in that.
Cream of wheat. What is cream of wheat? I guess it's kind of like a porridge,
right?
Sort of thing.
Yeah,
maybe it is porridge. Maybe that's just what American. Do they say porridge in America?
We say porridge in England.
We say porridge in Australia.
I think they might say oatmeal. Is that a thing?
Yeah, is oatmeal porridge? Is that the same thing?
I don't know. Americans, let us know.
Americans, what is cream of wheat? Please let us know. It's very important.
So she's cooking breakfast. She picks up a cream of wheat box and, like you said, says, I love cream of wheat. Feels, so hot and creamy. Feels great running down my throat. Now, to describe...
You've added a few extra bits that you made it a bit more erotic.
Did I? I do that sometimes. I have a tendency to make things erotic. That's what people tell me. No.
You're always making things erotic.
I know.
It's very uncomfortable.
I know. I can't
We're out getting dinner and you're just making that erotic.
I know. It's in my blood. So to describe what the cream of wheat box looks like, it is a black man with a very tall chef's hat on the front holding up a bowl of this cream of wheat. So she's making it. She says, it feels so good going down my throat. And all of a sudden... Did I say that right? Did I make it more right?
Yeah, I just love that we've said it now 3 times.
Do you want to say it again?
Feels so good going down my throat.
Oh, you dirty bastard.
Feels so good when it goes down my throat.
And all of a sudden, we get a voice call from behind and says, it really fills a girl up.
Eat it before it gets cold.
And there we have a cream of wheat man. So to put it, it's a fucking giant... human life-size box of cream of wheat. The face, the black man's face on the front cover is now an actual person, with the face hole cut out. He's got his arms coming out the sides and his legs coming out the bottom. And we tilt down and his dick is coming out the bottom of the box.
It's like a glory hole, but on a cream of wheat costume.
and the radio's playing.
Yeah, Old Man River.
Yeah, Old Man River.
Fuck, you know.
And it's this really happy scene, and she just goes down and starts filleting the cream of wheat box.
How funny is it? So she's filleting him as this song's playing, and as she's like sucking his dick, she's sort of dancing to the beat, and he's also kind of loving it and kind of dancing as well.
Oh my god.
But it gets better.
So we have we see some bread, and it's like a loaf of bread, and we keep cutting back from the bread to the dick-sucking cream of wheat box, and every time we cut back to the bread, it's kind of
sucking cream of wheat box.
the bread is in a different position. It's like slightly, like almost like
around.
animated. And so she's blowing him, and now the bread is also a man, and he just kind of comes along and starts dancing.
Oh, man, he is. This was the point where actually, oh fuck, this is so amazing. So, yes, this guy in this giant toast costume or bread costume, he's got sunglasses on. But then it's, I also wrote the comment, I'm just looking at my notes now. How did the cream of wheat guy stay hard as this was happening? Do you think?
Yeah.
So she's like blowing him, dancing around, he's dancing too, while this man with sunglasses in a fucking bread toast costume is dancing about.
And just like clicking his fingers.
Yeah, but then something happens that basically makes this probably the best film ever made.
Right.
Where he pulls out a saxophone and starts playing the fucking saxophone as this scene is happening. And at that point I'm like, this is properly brilliant. And the just so like the costumes are great as well. Like they just look so funny. And oh man, it was truly amazing.
It is. And the cream of wheat guy, he looks so happy, and he's like clicking his fingers whilst getting blown while this guy's doing a sax solo. And the sax guy, his dancing is so erratic as well. It's so erratic. And everyone's like dancing and getting blown. And it ends like the cream of wheat guy is on the floor, so we kind of have like the shot from behind his head. So the focus isn't even on the sex; it's on the saxophone player.
It's really
the saxophone bread man.
it definitely, the scene becomes all about that saxophone guy. Like it really keys in on that guy. Fuck, that was one of the best things I've ever seen in any film.
All right. Now you would agree that this is the Citizen Kane of porn films.
It is narratively very similar to Citizen Kane. Do you think Orson Welles watched this film?
I think he may have had just a little bit of influence. Wait, which came first?
What, Citizen Kane or this?
I think Nightdreams was first. Oh my god, yeah, that scene fucking floored me. I don't think I've yet recovered from it.
I think especially because it comes after so much darkness that it really, it's already insane, but then it's really amplified in where it's sort of placed in the film, I think.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, bonkers.
Oh, I loved it. So now we come back to the scientists. They're eating dinner.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like a candlelit dinner, but they're still in the same spot, right?
Yeah, so they have the subjects like monitors in the background, and they're eating dinner, but they're kind of like arguing as if like they're arguing like a married couple. And the female scientist is like, the trout needs more basil. Yeah. And they're eating trout, right? Some fish, and they're arguing about if it's seasoned enough. And it's just like, fucking hell, this got a bit depressing pretty quick. Yeah. And then we cut to a very fuck scene, which I'll let you talk about.
Yeah. This scene, all right, so the four scenes that made me go, fuck, this is one of the best porn films I've ever seen. The first fucked up nose mask guy, the disturbing Dracula guy with the baby dick, the Wonder Bread costume guy, and then this bit, which is just fucked. So we cut to Mrs. Van Houten. She's just sleeping next to a dead fish. Yeah, like this fish just like next to her, and already I'm like, wow, this is what a fucking weird image to have in a porn film. But then the fish starts like opening and closing its mouth, kind of calling back to that scene from before, right? With the weird Dracula guy, baby dick man, closing and opening his mouth, and then it sort of stops like as if it's died, kind of thing, and that's it. Like it's amazing. That scene.
I wonder because it was really weird because she was like they're in bed and she's smoking cigarettes. So I wonder if it was like a post-fuck cigarette kind of thing. But then like the trout. He's opening his mouth as if he's trying to like breathe like a fish out of water. He's just like he's making a weird noise, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, it was really disturbing.
Super weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. I love the kind of the imagery in this. It's really quite brilliant. Like,
but it's such a short scene as well.
Yeah, really quick. It is kind of like that bit with the baby dick guy. It's like this weird kind of in between scene. That sort of is like a prelude to a sex scene. Yeah, but it just adds so much that short moment.
Yeah. And then we cut to hell. I assume was hell.
Yeah. This scene is also really crazy. The art direction in this is really good.
This is one of the ones I was like, this has got to be one of the VHS like sets, from the design. Yeah, there's the poster design because it's a very well done scene. The set design is quite incredible, and the makeup is incredible.
Yeah, it looks really cool. So we're sort of panning across. Sort of, like naked, strung up bodies. It's very dark, lots of screaming and moaning, red light smoke. It's like very clearly like hell pretty much straight away. And then we see, I guess it's supposed to be, it's Satan, right?
We can only assume it's Satan. It's not your conventional Satan, but it's like a demon-esque.
At first I'm like, is it just a demon? But then as it goes on, it seems like it's probably Satan.
So like you said, there's demons, there's like constant smoke and screams and like hellish mountains and rock. It's just a red, bleak landscape. And then and there's like slaves kind of like chained to the walls.
Yeah.
And our Miss Van Houten is in hell. And proceeds to get eaten out by a hell slave. I'm not sure. There's just a random woman there who seems like she might be a slave or something who comes and eats her out over a hell rock.
Some of Satan's dialogue in this is very funny.
I couldn't understand what the fuck he was saying.
Yeah, it is quite hard to hear. I had to like rewind it a few times to catch everything. But it kind of goes into like satirical kind of territory for some weird reason, where he's like talking about cable TV and stuff. Did you catch any of that?
I maybe like gists of it, but it's so like heavily like there's loads of effects on his voice. Yeah, so it was really difficult for me to catch.
He is hard to hear, but at one of his early lines, he says they're talking about pain, and he's like, "You want to know what pain is? Pain is not having your own cable outlet when you need to tell all the slime out there what life is all about." It's just really strange.
Pain is not having your own cable outlet when you want to tell all the slime out there life is all about.
And then throughout it, he's getting increasingly annoyed that he doesn't have like his own kind of morning TV show or something. I think it was hard to make out. Another thing I loved about this scene, so as Mrs. Van Houten's getting her butt licked, we've got this slave strung up.
Yeah, she was the best.
And I think she's someone. I think she's from other things.
Oh, really?
I couldn't quite work out what it was, but she looks really familiar. But at one point, she shouts out, ream her ass like you reamed mine.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Satan's like, ream? Did I hear someone say ream? Now we're talking my language. So it's very like visually disturbing and creepy, but it's also kind of very comical scene as well.
I loved that. The almost Princess Leia-esque like slave, ream her ass.
And then what does Satan
bring
fucking
out?
hell,
yeah. So he comes along with his staff.
Yeah.
He has a staff which is a double dildo on top of it. So you got like
a double dildo pitchfork.
Yeah. It's like what's that, the trident, like Satan's fork. And you got two dildos on the top, one for the front, one for the back. And just begins to fuck her with his staff. Yeah. It's quite intense, but like the dildos on top, they're like demon dicks as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
They look really painful.
Oh god. Yeah, it sort of goes into this weird sort of orgy. And my favorite thing is like as Satan does a cum, it plays like it has like a thunder sound effect.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like the lightning flash and the Satan cum face.
Yeah, but all throughout this, he keeps like talking about like TV exposure and like all this weird stuff. It's very strange.
My main takeaway from this scene was the sound. This sound really got to me because it's a long scene.
Oh, just like the constant looped moans.
Yeah. It's like there's one scream. There's like a 5-second scream. It's like, but it's like a really distinctive scene. You know, like in horror films where they will like have a scream that they use twice and you're like, that's the same scream. You just fucking reuse that. So they have this one like 5-second scream on loop the whole time, and this like clock ticking. It's like and just the scream is like, and it goes on for like 10 minutes, and I was like, fucking hell, I'm going insane just listening to that whilst watching Satan fuck this woman. It was tough for me to get through. It kind of messed with me, I'm not gonna lie. It was a bit much for the senses.
Yeah, that sound was really fucked and nightmarish for me as well. And this is a weird comment, but the other thing that was fucking with my head in that scene is that Satan, and also the color kind of, what do you call it? Like the kind of style or the tone of that scene weirdly reminded me a lot of have you ever seen the Eisenstein movie Ivan the Terrible?
No.
Like part 1 and part 2?
No.
The guy playing Satan, I can show you a picture of him, reminded me so much of the actor from this fucking Eisenstein film, which was a very weird kind of like thing to have in my mind while watching Satan with a double-headed pitchfork dildo thing. Thinking about an
Ivan the Terrible.
Yeah, it was very weird. But that whole scene was, it was pretty full on. It was a little bit exhausting.
It was long. The sound design was fucked. Like, it was very intense.
But yeah, really cool.
It was exhausting, like I said.
Makeup on Satan. It looked really cool.
Oh yeah, it was decent. Very, very good sets, good makeup. Everything was great in it. Not like a cheap, shitty porno whatsoever. Cool. Yeah. Then we go back to the scientists. The male scientist is saying, "You've gone too far. We need to sedate her."
Yeah. He's like, "This woman is on the brink of an orgasm." I think he's like, she says that, right? And then he's like, you call it an orgasm, I call it a breakdown.
That's it, yeah. Orgasm versus breakdown. Yeah, so again, they're just having conflicting opinions what is best for Miss Van Houten. The female scientists insist on keep pushing her because at the end of the day, from what we learned from the beginning, is that the primary goal of this is to enforce an orgasm on Miss Van Houten. But
it's quite a confusing experiment.
It is.
Because, she's like, she's about to do an orgasm. And do an orgasm. And, the guy's like, no, we don't want her to do an orgasm. It's very confusing.
Well, because he thinks that we're pushing her to the point of a breakdown.
Yeah, so, he says that right.
Yeah.
You call it an orgasm, I call it a breakdown. That sounds like going to be a good, crooner song. Like Frank Sinatra singing that. You call it an orgasm.
And then we cut to our final.
This part was really boring.
It was.
Not gonna lie, I watched it in double speed. I was very bored in this scene.
It was a weird one to end on, but I kind of understand why they chose to do it. Yeah.
It makes sense. It's just, it was a bit exhausting at this point. I was a bit pawned out at this point.
How many comes did you do up until this point?
15 or so.
The baby scene?
That's not... I won't even make a joke about that.
The fish.
Yeah, the fish.
It was the fish.
The fish...
Toilet rape.
As soon... Fuck off. The fish, as soon as I saw the double-headed pitchfork dildo, just instant cum on the spot. And that scene was responsible for... That was 10 of my cums was just every time that was it on screen, basically. And the fish... the fucking mask, nose fucking mask thing at the start.
I wish that was my nose.
Oh, fuck.
So the last, what do you even call it? Vision, delusion, the
last fuck scene, fuck dream.
The fuck dream.
We go.
Oh, the last night dream. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, of course. That's what it's called. The last fuck night dream. We move from hell. We go up to heaven, and got a big willy lad in heaven. Mrs. Van Houten's going through these like sort of pearly gates kind of thing. It's all in slow motion. We have some beautiful piano music playing. It's that song, right? It's that song that's in like every film.
No.
Wait, hang on. I wrote down what it was. It's by Eric Satie.
Right.
Gymnopedie. How do you pronounce that? How do you pronounce that?
Which one? Where am I looking at?
Where
am I looking at? Where are we?
Showing how uncultured we are. How do you pronounce that?
I don't fucking know. What's this?
Gymnopedie?
That's a long old name.
But it's that song that you'll know it. If you hear it, you're like, oh, of course, that song.
Right.
It's the one that goes... You know that song?
Nope.
We'll play it over the background of this.
All right.
Let's put it in now.
All right,
so it's playing now. So everyone listening is like, oh, fuck, of course.
Of course, Jim Nuggumberry.
That is in so many movies. It's in Royal Tenenbaums.
Right.
It's in My Dinner with Andre. And it's probably in about 1 billion other films as well.
Right.
And now it's in this film as well.
Okay.
Nightdreams.
Now, was it me, or is what we can only assume is God in this scene, who she proceeds to fuck, was that not the male doctor?
Was it?
I thought that was the male doctor. He looks very similar to him, but in the doctor scenes, his hair's kind of like forward, and as God, his hair's like slick back.
I did not notice.
So I thought that was him.
You thought that was supposed to be God? Like she's fucking God?
I was like, oh, she's in heaven. Like, I don't know.
I just thought it was
she just fucked Satan, so she came up to heaven and fucked God now.
That makes sense. That does make sense. Yeah. That does really make sense.
You were concentrating on the music.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what is this song? And I had to Shazam it. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's that song.
Yeah. So, as you said, it's a very underwhelming finale.
It's very vanilla, which I guess is the point, right? It's very normal. It's just that gentle piano song and very, like nothing crazy happens.
No, because we're in heaven.
Yeah,
it's a place of purity. I mean, she's fucking God, but apart from that, it's a place of purity. And they have a very long, slow, dreamy, like, sex scene with a very close-up cum face.
Well, I was going to say it ends with this fucking disgusting, very greasy wank-off.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, it's like a shot that's, like, pointed right down, like, right into the face of the neck. And it's just this sort of dirty, greasy wank-off at the end. Which is kind of funny because the scene's like so gentle and heavenly and just this dirty close-up of a... Yeah.
It's quite full-on, isn't it? It's a bit much for the senses. And that's it. Yeah, that was the last night dream. That's what you want to call him.
Dream.
That's him. And then we come back to the scientist for the last time. And then we kind of get some closure on what the whole thing is about and what we're actually doing here.
You call it closure? You think that's closure? Or you explain what it is. I found it confusing.
So we cut back to the scientists, and they're like, oh, it's that time again. Yep, time to go home, time to clock out. Like, as if like this is their day-to-day job. They're doing this thing every day, and they're like, wow, time goes fast, huh? So they're getting ready to go home. Miss Van Houten walks in. And she's like, yeah, great session again, guys, right? You know. So, I'll see you again next week, right? And the scientists are like, huh, do we have a choice? And then it just cuts.
So what would you say the closure of that is?
Well, she's just going to their clinic. They're doing this thing every day, probably for a mixture of women, and she's just coming to their clinic to learn how to have an orgasm through their sex therapy.
I was like wondering if that was a reference to earlier where she's like, who's the patients kind of thing. Are they the patients and she's like, or are they the clients?
Right.
I don't know.
I didn't take it like that. I just thought that's the clinic they're running. She's one of possibly many women who are coming in, and women who can't have an orgasm, and they're training women to have an orgasm through these various erotic visions. But who knows? I don't think it's a film that is that deep. So, but it just suddenly, and then they're like, "Do we have a choice?" Oh, and then it cuts. So it's a bit of an odd ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very sudden. It's kind of, like while the film is great, the last sort of, 10 minutes are quite shit. So you kind of forget how bonkers it was beforehand, because it ends with that very, unremarkable heaven scene, and then that sort of weird, haphazard ending.
Yeah.
So it doesn't leave you feeling, I don't know, you kind of forget that it starts with this fucked up cunt in a mask.
Sure.
The fucking horrible nose.
Totally do,
jamming it into a lady. So, it is kind of a weird ending.
Yeah. It would have been great if they just ended with her having, the mother of all orgasms. Because that seems to be the whole point of the film, right?
Yeah. I guess is that sort of what it was going for at the end? I don't know. They don't really, make a big deal about it.
No.
Right? With the heaven scene.
No. So it was weird though, but there was some kind of there was a connection between the real world and her visional world. The scientist saying the trout is under seas, and then she's in bed with the trout.
Yeah.
And then I could be wrong, but I thought the male doctor was God. So there seems to be she's taking some sort of influence from the situation that she's in and bringing it into her visions.
And also when they talk about her trauma, I do wonder if it has something to do with that demented, black and white mask guy in the toilet scene. But the toilet scene,
it's a bit grim.
I don't know what else to call it. But I don't know. But again, maybe we're also looking into it too much. And it's just a series of weird fuck scenes.
But it kind of comes across as those anthology films, like VHS and stuff, where you have an overall story that just connects, that puts in a bunch of unrelated scenes. And this was absolutely perfect for that setting, because none of the sex scenes are connected whatsoever. All have their very own original stylistic choice and their own theme and their own story, if you will, but all kind of housed in this human experiment setting, which is a setting I absolutely love in films.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's definitely among the most interesting porn films I've ever seen. Yeah, and visually, it's pretty amazing, kind of start to finish, and very it looks very high budget considering what it is, and the fact that it's definitely not high budget, but it's clearly made by real artists and people that really wanted to make something that looked incredibly cool. It's just such a weird film, and it's a film that just doesn't exist now, right? So it's pretty amazing little time capsule as well.
Yeah, I heard a final tidbit that I gathered. This film actually replaced the the midnight movie circuit in America. This one replaced Eraserhead and Pink Flamingos, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, which
That's
is
nuts.
Wild.
Yeah.
But you can totally see it happening, can't you? Yeah. It seems to definitely grab that crowd.
Do you know much about the sequels?
No, I'm very curious to see them though. But I do know that is it Steven Sayadian?
Steve.
Steve, he directed them.
Yeah.
So that's why people say that this Francis Delia director is actually Steve, because the stylistic choices are very similar.
I did see that the guy that what's the director's name again?
Francis Delia.
Delia. I saw that he has directed some non-porn stuff as well.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see that and see what the style of that is like as well. And also the sequels, do you know when they're from?
No, I haven't. We can have a look.
That's the other sort of oh shit, just looking it up now. The first sequel is from 1990.
Wow, so a good 9 years after the fact.
Yeah, so I get the feeling that they maybe wouldn't be that interesting to watch, because it's sort of after, this kind of porn film doesn't exist anymore. In 1990, it was all like video and stuff like that after
Sure.
that. Yeah. So this is kind of coming, I guess, sort of getting towards the end of like the golden age of porn films. So
Yeah, it was the first of its type. I think I read somewhere, or at least according to someone's review from the time that it was released, was the first film that mixed like eroticism and dreamlike states, which is quite an interesting fact. Like, but who knows? There may have been ones before this. I don't fucking know.
it's based on a comment you read.
I don't even know where I read it. Now I'm thinking about it. Like, wait, where did I read that? So, how did you get on with this, Dave? What is your thoughts, your final score?
Are we going wrong-ometer?
See how wrong this one goes. Oh, do you have more to say?
No. I'm just, great film.
Great film, a lot of comes.
No, it is genuinely really great. It is, it comes with a, it's a porn film, obviously, so it's a hard one to recommend to people. But, if you're interested in how strange and interesting porn films can get, this is definitely a pretty, kind of quite accessible place to start, I think. Yeah.
I don't know about that. Fucking hell. I got the heebie-jeebies a few times.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it to go into the amount of horror that it actually went into.
Yeah.
Dead babies and fish and rape over toilet and shit.
Yeah, it is pretty disturbing. But it's also, pretty amazingly put together. So, and it's quite entertaining mostly. It is. There's some exhausting bits, but it's mostly pretty watchable.
Yeah.
Maybe not one to recommend to
I don't know who. Who the fuck would...
I don't know.
Who's this for?
I don't know. I guess us. Yeah. Wrong-ometer. So wrong-ometer, how wrong the film is, not how good the film is.
No.
If I was giving it a good rating, goodometer, I'd probably give it like an 8 or a 9. But on the wrong-ometer, it's a kind of a tough one. That first scene alone is so fucked with that mask and the nose going in and out.
Oh.
And that and the baby dick man and the trout stuff. And even the bread stuff and the cream of wheat just makes it very bonkers. So I'm gonna go for it's a tough one. I'm gonna say I was going between a 7 and an 8, but let's say 8. I'm gonna say 8.
I think 8 is a fair shout. Yeah, I think. I mean, God, like there's a lot of fucked up stuff in this film, but at the same time they went out knowingly they wanted to make something fucked up, which kind of takes a point away from it,
That's true. Yeah.
So they were, they wanted to make something fucked. No one's going into a porn film to watch Toast serenade a cream of wheat box getting filleted with a saxophone. That's not anyone's idea of a good time. Maybe someone, maybe you, Dave. But the point of this was to make a weird art house fucked up porn film, and the fact that was its initial intentions, I guess, takes away just a little bit off the wrong-ometer. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But with that being said, this is one of the most fucked up porn films, if not the most fucked up. I mean, taking away like shit like, like scat porn or vomit porn or something, this is one of the most fucked up porn films I've ever seen. 100%. No one wants to go into a porn film and see like a man with a hollow chest get a fetus pulled out of his dick. Like, that's not porn. That's not porn. Yet it is porn. This is a porn film. Why did they make this? Why did they choose to make these insane creative choices? And I think one of the big things for me as well is the sound choice. Like, it's just so unerotic. Like, what you're seeing on the screen is just sex, people fucking. But the sound, the constant, like, screams and the clocks tickings and the industrial noises, it's the most unerotic porn film I think I've ever seen. Because, like I said, with things like scat films or vomit films, they're made for people with that
They're
fetish.
catering to a specific fetish. Yeah.
So for someone who doesn't have that fetish and is going to just start watching someone get shit on, they're going to say, oh, that's fucked up, that's fucking wrong. But for someone who does have that fetish, that's like fucking Disneyland covered in shit. So again, it's like, who was this made for? And the fact that every single scene caters, it's not catering to anyone really. It's just, it has its own like theme. So, fucking hell. And another thing I want to say as well is the blend of eroticism versus the story. Because I think with any porn film that has a story, like a plot-based porn film, it's always a balancing act. Because if you get invested in the story, and then the porn scene comes around, you're instantly taken out of that plot, and you're there just to watch people fuck. And if you're invested in the plot, you're not really going to enjoy the fucking that much, which is one of the I guess you could say the issues I have with pink cinema a lot of the time, because they're an hour long, and you have a story, but we need a certain amount of sex scenes within that film to meet the criteria to make a pink film, right? We spoke about that before when we did what was it? Name Means Yes. For someone who's like invested in the story, this isn't going to be fun for them, because it's a bunch of the story keeps getting interrupted with a lot of weird fucking. If you're going in to watch a porn film, then it's too visually intense, like with Satan and dead babies and fish. Like, it's not erotic at all. No one's getting turned on by this. Well, maybe you did. But I think with that balance in mind, like the two things, like a story-driven porn film, in my eyes, doesn't work. The two things just like don't work well together. If you want to see a porn film, you just want to see people fucking, right?
I don't know. I actually disagree with you.
Really? Okay.
Because I think like a lot of I understand your point, but I think like, you know, a lot of pink films, the sex scenes are connected to, like, a good pink film, the sex scene makes sense within the context of the story, if you know what I mean. So like a film like Lunchbox, for example, every sex scene in that has a kind of narrative power to it,
right?
And it makes sense within the scene. And I would argue that too with most of Sato's films as well. Yeah, I don't know. There's also like a lot of kind of classic era porn films that I fucking love, and yeah, they've got sex scenes, but it still works as a narrative. And I do know what you mean, but I don't entirely agree.
That's fair enough. Each to their own. Yeah, for me, I both for me have never worked well together. That's just my opinion as a viewer. With that in mind, the wrong ometer, fucking hell, it's a tough one. It is a tough one because this film is so visually fucked up. It's so visually fucked up, and the sound as well is very grating. Yet it's a porn film, yet it's not erotic. But I think 8 is a good score for this film.
We're both on 8.
I think we're both on 8. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a hard one. Like,
I kind of wanted to give it more.
Yeah, me too. But
I did want to give it more because I've never seen anything like this. And the fact that it is a porn film as well kind of does cranks it up a little bit. But the fact that they intentionally made it this way and made a film that is wrong by anyone's standards kind of makes it not wrong by our standards in a way.
Sure. Yeah, it is. It was a really hard one. I wasn't really sure until you asked me what my rating was going to be.
Right.
Yeah, it was a very tough one, I think, yeah.
But I would definitely recommend this to
yeah, probably people that listen to this podcast.
People who are into like alternative cinema
It's like, it is like legitimately, it's not a shit film. Like there's great stuff in this. It is a really, like the fact that first kind of scene is so disturbing, so unsettling. It's like much creepier than any kind of like recent horror film I've seen. Just that first like disgusting mask, nose dick guy. Like that's fucked. And like the surreal kind of absurd imagery is like really amazing as well. This is clearly a film that, you know, it wasn't just thrown together to like quickly make a film. Like clearly the people involved in this, you know, were really, you know, trying to make something special. And we didn't talk about it much, but yeah, the performance from that lead actress, Dorothy LeMay, is really good. Like she's really fucking good. And all of her, you know, kind of the in-between scenes and the monologues that she does are really awesome.
Oh yeah, she did really bloody well. Miss Van Houten.
And yeah, again, like I can't believe that I hadn't heard about this before. It's really weird that I had never heard about this, never seen this. Really surprised me because it's so mental. How did I not know?
Yeah, I'm glad I could bring something new. Yeah. So what we got? Oh god!
Yes.
Oh fuck!
No, I'm so fucking excited for next week. Because what number episode is this? What are we on?
No idea.
I've got no idea either. Like, what is it? Like maybe 10?
Is it?
I think so.
Hey.
Here's the thing. This is episode 10. We record all of these early, so we never know what episode number it is. But how is it that we've gone 10 episodes and we haven't done a fucking movie from Hong Kong? I'll tell you why that is. Because the problem is we've seen every Cat 3 that you could possibly see. Both of us are like, you know, we love Cat 3s, and it's very hard to find, you know, one that the other hasn't seen.
Yep.
But there is a Cat 3 that you haven't seen. And I'm so fucking pumped to watch this. And you're going to love it.
Yes.
You're going to love this film.
Good.
So next time, we're going to watch the brilliantly titled Don't Stop My Crazy Love for You from Hong Kong, of course. It's a Cat 3.
Don't Stop My Crazy Love for You.
Don't Stop My Crazy Love for You. And it stars our guy, Simon Yam.
Yes.
Dr. Lamb himself.
Yes.
And it's fucking bonkers. Awesome. And you're going to love it.
Awesome.
I'm so happy that you haven't seen that one, so I get to watch it again.
What a title.
Yeah, so next time we'll be doing that. We always forget to do it, but what should people also do as well as listening to this episode?
You should. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our Twitter and other platforms that we may be on.
Yes. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, our Twitter is SMSW Podcast.
What's that short for?
Show Me Something Wrong.
Right.
Podcast.
There you go.
SMSW Podcast on Twitter. Please follow us there. And please also, I don't really know how this works, but if you could give us a rating and review us somehow. I don't really understand how it works, but if you do it on Apple Podcasts, I think.
Is that a thing?
Just find a place, like type in, how do I review a podcast? Please do that, because we really need people to do that, so, you know, people listen to us.
That's it. We're not going to tell you where to do it, but find it yourself and do
Apple
it.
Podcasts, just, I don't know. Get your app out, do a rating.
Come on, guys, get your apps out.
Yeah, no, please rate and review us. And if you have any, you know, friends that like this kind of stuff, like tell them to listen to it as well. And yeah, share it on Twitter too. That would be really helpful for us.
Do it.
Look at the bush on her.